Hello, everybody. It is me, Mike Vanderpool, and I'm here today with the Make It Happen podcast. This is something I started telling the story of cool people doing cool things here in Northwest Ohio and beyond. And someone I know who's doing some pretty cool stuff in the tech training and just training in general space, Matt Kibler here with Custom Training Solutions, a partnership subsidiary here. I don't know exactly what it is with Northwest State, but you're here to illuminate us about what Custom Training Solutions is, and then also TechCred, which is a wonderful resource we have available to upskill folks here as we continue to see a need for folks with upskilling.
Correct. Yep. Custom Training Solutions. We're the workforce division of Northwest State Community College. And TechCred has been a great resource for all Ohio businesses. It comes out of the Lieutenant Governor's office. It's been around since 2019, and there's still a lot of companies that are organizations that aren't taking advantage of it and don't utilize it, and that's what we want to help them with. We want to help people take advantage of funding to upskill their workforce, to better their employees, and to bridge the skills gap that they may face at their facility.
And I talk to people all over the place, and one of the things that gets talked about is the need for workers. And I say, hey, we're looking for this type of person, we need these type of skills. I say TechCred exists. I know it exists, but I have a hard time articulating exactly what it is and exactly how it works. So I'm hoping that you can help illuminate us today. Sure. So if anybody out there has folks that they would like to upskill, reskill within their organizations, Matt here over at Custom Training Solution is the person to talk to, but let's figure out how this whole thing works. But before we do that, how did you get here?
How did I get here?
Not just to the tech loft here today where we're recording, but like just in general, this space of what you're doing in Northwest Ohio.
Yeah, so I had an interesting journey. I came out of Tiffin University. I graduated with a communications degree focused in public relations. Worked in sports information. From there, I went on to run the Exploring program through the Black Swamp Area Council.
What was it?
It's called the Exploring program. So it was a youth workforce development program that was set up to give high school students a look at careers. So we'd have like Marathon Petroleum, for instance. We'd have an engineering program where kids, high school students, I should say, would come in once a month, and they would have a specific activity focused in engineering. The Marathon would host these students. So it gave students an opportunity to, they only know what they know. Mm-hmm. I want to be an engineer. Well, what does that mean? Are we talking mechanical? Are we talking electrical? I mean, there's tons of engineering opportunities out there. So this was a way to show them or help them find what they wanted to do. Okay. Give them an opportunity to explore different career paths. So I ran that, did that for a while, and actually it became one of the largest programs in the state of Ohio. And that was a 14-county area, so a large area to cover here in Northwest Ohio. I transitioned to Northwest State. My first tour of duty with Northwest State was targeting at-risk youth populations and driving them to career opportunities through training programs and working with Job and Family Services and Ohio Means Jobs to help uplift and upskill those populations of individuals, to give them an opportunity to better their lives through work and through earning and attaining skill sets. Ran the workforce development program at the Fostoria Learning Center as the director over there for a year, and then came back to Northwest State and Custom Training Solutions. I've done this for going on 3 years now as the director of business development. It's my job. I have a great job. I have an awesome job. I love what I do because you could be at one manufacturer in the morning and they could be pumping out solar panels. And then that afternoon, you could be at a mom and pop machine shop helping them meet or finding an opportunity to upskill their people, providing a solution, a workforce solution, a training solution that fits their needs. We like to call, made to order, or we say yes at CTS. We train.
Let's go.
We train around the clock. We do first, second, third shifts. We have a company that only does Sundays. We have a company that only does Saturdays. So our focus is to move at the pace of manufacturing as opposed to the pace of higher education, because higher education can, at times, it can be slower.
Yes.
And
it's designed to be slower.
Yes.
It's designed to be slower.
In workforce, we don't have that opportunity. We need to be able to move and react and function as private industry. And that's one thing I think that Northwest State has done a great job in investing in our organization, because the need is out there and we're able to meet that need. So that's kind of our story. What we do, we're in Michigan, we're in Indiana, we're in 18 counties across Ohio, and that continues to grow. And it really comes down to we are providing a service. So customer service is what we do. And the better we can answer those phone calls, timely email responses, accuracy in what we do, relevant content, that's the goal in this, and providing someone a solution that meets their needs, not giving them a canned option, giving them what they want, what they need, and when they want it.
So I still want to baby step back just briefly. You graduated from Tiffin with a media broadcasting degree?
Public relations.
Public relations, okay. Which I guess that obviously helps and synergizes a little bit with what you're being asked to do as part of this role, right?
Correct. It's to spread the word. Spread the word, be educated about what you do, what product line you have, and to go out there and speak about that knowledgeably. That's the function. It's to provide a service. It's to be customer service focused. It's to be great at what your organization is good at. That's our focus. We talked about this before we started recording. There's some aspects we're very transparent with our customers. If you come to me with a specific request and I can't do that, my job's not to lead you on and try to, hey, push you. We can't do this, but we could do that. Well, that's not what you want. Yeah. My job's to help you find that provider that maybe I can't do everything, and I'm not going to be everything to everybody. And we're very transparent with our customers, and they appreciate that. We're not going to lead you on, but we're going to be great at what our organization is good at, and that should be our focus, and that is what our focus is.
And that focus being here in Northwest Ohio, I'm assuming, is heavily manufacturing based.
Very heavy manufacturing across Northwest Ohio, North Central Ohio.
So what are the needs that manufacturing has right now? Like, what are the big asks?
I'd say the top ask anytime we go into a new customer is going to be electrical knowledge, electricity right from the start. So
just controls engineering or
maintenance.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Base level electrical knowledge, industrial electricity 1 or basic electricity, whatever you want to call it. Those base level courses are probably our number one request. Electricity 1, advanced electricity, being able to read electrical prints, NEMA versus IEC. Those are probably the number one requests on the electrical side. And then from there, you may get you would get into some mechanical, especially manufacturers that have a lot of conveyor systems. We get into bearings, belts, pulleys, chain drives. That's a very heavily requested course. Your hydraulics, your pneumatics, GD&T, print reading. I mean, it goes all over the place. FANUC, controls, Allen Bradley, Siemens. Those requests are all fairly consistent, but electrical is by far the number one.
And that does make sense because I have a background in some of that stuff. Out of college, I did some controls work, kind of fell into it just because I wasn't afraid to electrocute myself in a mechanical engineering shop. And then I recently did some work with Yoder Brothers Machinery. And I was amazed by how many people are still using and having to troubleshoot, press brakes, shears, all the equipment that makes everything that we have here, or makes everything that we make. How many machines needed service, and finding people who could service those things. Wow, it's scary because a lot of those people who know how those things work are retiring,
and that knowledge is not coming back. Once it walks out the door, if you haven't tapped into it, you're probably not going to get it back.
Yeah, it's a little scary, especially some of those older machines still do a phenomenal job, but everything new is all computer driven, PLC. It's more about coding and programming than it is necessarily maybe connecting wires and relays. But there's still a lot of equipment out there that is connected with wires and relays.
There is. We see it. We see you could be, especially facilities that have been around a long time and they've continued to add on. It's like walking through a history book. Yeah. Sometimes you go to some of these facilities, it's very neat to see that, just be able to start, well, this is what when we first started, what it looked like. And it's still operating, like you said, it still functions. The functionality is still there.
I mean, there's some of these brakes that are decades old and they're still being resold and have to be, maintained.
I mean, we see equipment sometimes from the 50s and 60s still, and that it's common, but it still works, and that's the main thing. And then you slowly make your way up into the modern age, if you will, in equipment. It's very interesting. Like I said, I can't speak enough about how fortunate I am that what I do for a living. Just some of the stuff you see, you could, like I said, you could be one place in the morning and another place in the afternoon, and they could be on the complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
So what are some of the cooler cooler industries, companies that you've experienced here in Northwest Ohio?
So we do a lot of work with First Solar. First Solar is a great organization that we do some training for. The amount of automation in their facilities is amazing, and what they do. But we've also had some other, I guess, outside of manufacturing that you wouldn't think of. The Toledo Zoo is a great example. We do their maintenance training.
Because there's a lot of stuff to take care of. Right?
The zoo keeps running, and those are the individuals that keep that running, or their security detail. We've done Excel training. You just don't think about that. Probably one of the coolest things we get to do is to go under the polar bear exhibit at the zoo.
Nice.
We got to walk around with their maintenance director, and he's like, we're surrounded by saltwater right now.
Because a lot of those things that we see as consumers are just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath it are people who are holding it together, making sure that the lights work, the water works, the heat works. Also making sure, like to your point with Excel, that the numbers of the business make sense in order to keep the business open and operating. So yeah, everything that you see as a business where the most visible people are probably just a small percentage of actually what it takes to make that thing work.
Correct. That's the behind the scenes stuff is where I really enjoy getting in there and talking, not only talking to the people, but seeing them do that and to hear their stories. And that's where, we talk about our instructors and what we do and how we train. We're non-college credit. That's what we do. That's just how we function. And our job is to create courses for those organizations specific to them and what they want. It's made to order. Yeah. That's our objective.
Hence the custom, right?
Yes, we build, that's what I tell, we have a course catalog. I always tell companies we have a course catalog, but that catalog is only 30% of what we do. If I had a catalog that cataloged everything we do or have done, it'd be 400 pages long. So I usually tell companies, tell me what you're looking for, and I'll tell you if we can do it or not, and then we'll build it to spec for you. And that's where TechCred, kind of loop it all in together with TechCred and everything. As you talked about Excel, believe it or not, and TechCred is the number one requested credential across the state of Ohio. There are 2,400 credentials that are available through TechCred or fundable, if you will, through reimbursement from the state of Ohio. I highly recommend if a company wants to look into it further, we can certainly help you do that. But go out to TechCred.Ohio.Gov and just go through the site. Click the About tab, read up on it. You're going to get a decent amount of information from there. Where companies kind of get thrown off or get a little scared is when you get into the application process. That's where we come into play. We have dedicated staff that we schedule a meeting. It's a virtual meeting through whatever your virtual platform is. You log in, you share your screen, and we walk you through the application process. It's that simple. That's what we tell companies. Our objective is to take the guesswork out of this because, as you know, the maintenance manager or the HR manager, they've got a million things on their plate. So what can we do? Like we talk about the customer service aspect of it. We're providing a service. How can we provide this service to make it easier for you to function out in your current role and job? But we're introducing something new that can upskill your employees, make your life easier. So you're not having to constantly be looking and trying to hire more, but to upskill your people. There's funding out there to do it. Let's make this an easier process for you.
Okay. So you said there's 2,400 credentials that the TechCred can be applied to. When you say credential, what do you mean? I know like there's certain certifications. So in my tech field and kind of the design field, there's an A+ certification, there's Microsoft certifications, there's Cisco certifications, there's Adobe certifications. Is that what you mean?
So it's certifications or certificates. So TechCred, it's broken into two categories, if you will. So if there is a certification that requires an examination or an assessment, that would be a fundable program through the technology tech-focused training. On the certificate side, be a certificate of completion. So that could be, that could be an Excel class. That could be
because I don't think there's a certification for Excel, right?
Correct. It would just be our class is an 8-hour course delivered on site in 2 4-hour blocks or 1 8-hour day, whatever you want. So it's a certificate of completion for Excel level 1. So, those could be fundable.
Those are the same? They're considered equal, like if you were applying?
Correct. They would be considered equal in the aspect of they're fundable. Cost-wise, that's where, so TechCred, you're eligible for $30,000 every funding round an organization is, and that is divided up at $2,000 per credential per person. So let's say, so if you have multiple, you have a small class or you have one person that wants to take multiple classes, you can do that.
Okay.
That's how that's divided up. So it's $180,000 a year organizations would be eligible for.
Is it 3 periods then throughout the month?
There are 6.
So there's 6. So it's bi-monthly?
Yep. So March is an open funding round. Then it'll go May. So it goes every other month. So January, March, May.
And, the state and federal funding is interesting conversations to have these days, right? Where are we at with, how long is this going to be around, I guess is the question.
So it's been around since 2019. In conversations we've had, we've heard, there's never been any talk of it being pulled back. It is through the DeWine Husted administration. Mm-hmm. So that will be coming up in a year and a half. So we've heard nothing on our end to say that it's slowing down. It's been a great resource for regional growth partnership up here to help attract organizations to come to Ohio, to invest in Ohio. You look at some of the manufacturing that has come in to the state of Ohio and to Northwest Ohio, having funds available to upskill or reskill employees is extremely valuable to them and a great cost savings for them.
Darn, I was looking. Jobs Ohio did their quarterly meeting last week, and DeWine and others were speaking, and they presented. I think we're looking at needing 500,000 people trained in specific industries for the future. I think I'm gonna. Hopefully, I don't screw up this too much, but I think it was about 20% for IT, and then like maybe 30 to 40% for advanced manufacturing. So if that's what we're going to need, I don't see this program going away.
I wouldn't think it would. I can't say if it will or if it won't. Like I said, it's been a great resource for our like I said, a regional growth partnership or Jobs Ohio to be able to go out to a company that's looking to locate here. We, like you said, we have the resource in regards to land. That is available. We have sites that are available. We
have literal green fields.
Yes. We have sites that are available. Now it comes down to the human capital aspect of it.
And as somebody who was teaching out in the cornfields, the true Northwest Ohio, there's a lot past I-75, right? Farther west I-75. We have a ton of talent out there, hardworking talent that I would argue aren't necessarily aware of what the opportunities are, which is why sometimes you'll get people who maybe don't pursue some of these future-looking careers because they don't see it as a reality for them, right?
Yep, and we've talked about that. That you only know what you know.
Yeah.
And I think that we've done it. I will say Northwest State CTS, we've done a good job at exposing students, particularly when we have manufacturing days. We call them on Fridays. We bring in high school students. I have 600-700 students we've brought in across 4 or 5 Fridays. They come in and we'll take labs from some of our classes that we've done, and we'll make them to where students can understand them. We'll have a 24-volt electrical suitcase training with our instructors. And you'll get the students that come up and they're glazed over, they're looking at this, they have no idea. But if we just break it down and make it super simple, my son loves snap circuits.
Oh yeah, those things are amazing.
He's a whiz. My son is a whiz with that. He can look at the diagram and understand it. And if an 8-year-old can do that, that's what our instructors tell these high school students that, hey, I know this is confusing right now, but you can do this. And here, I'm going to show you how.
Yeah, I think so. Lots of conversations around when we hit up people for, exposing them to this stuff. I think high school, they're afraid to look like an idiot, right? They're afraid to. I'm afraid to be
or even
express this interest. Yeah. So like that 5th to 8th grade, man, that's what I'm going to argue is the sweet spot. But I think every kid should have snap circuits, like snap circuits and Legos. There you go. It's
the creative aspect of it.
Well, and I think too, that's probably something. So, when I was at Northwest State and hanging out with some folks in manufacturing, I think manufacturing has struggled for a while of telling the story of what's going on in manufacturing now.
Yeah, shaking the stigma. Like I said, this is it's not the belly of the Titanic. They're not shoveling coal into furnaces. This is, like you said, it's extremely high tech. It takes highly skilled individuals to be able to program Vanek robots, to be able to program Allen Bradley or Siemens PLCs, to be able to troubleshoot those electrical problems or those HMIs. I mean, even the mechanical aspect of it, the mechanical side is going to be similar to what's been around for hundreds of years, but you still have to have those troubleshooting, that root cause analysis, that investigative mindset of the why behind it.
It's not just the technical skills of being able to do something, it's how to actually approach solving a problem, diagnosing a problem.
Critical thinking, looking at something but it also takes a mentor. We do apprenticeships as well, non-credit or for credit and non-credit. That mentor is invaluable. And we do mentoring training with organizations to teach, because of the age gap, you're going to get some of that age gap problem. We train on that a good mentor is just as important as quality training. Because if you get good training and you have a bad mentor, you're probably not going to have a good experience. And then that's only going to, if you continue in this career path, it's probably going to follow you, because you could become a mentor one day. So either you're going to through learned experience do that, or on the flip side, it could be, well, I had a bad experience. I don't want to be able to pass that down to them.
All right. And we are back with Matt Kibler, Director of Business Development for Custom Training Solutions out there at Northwest State Community College, helping with their workforce development. We were talking TechCred, and I do want to I want to stick with TechCred, because this is the one thing, as somebody who gets around and talks to kind of people all over about how we train people, prepare them for, the immediate needs that we have, and then obviously the future of work, which is here. I want more about TechCred. So how does it work? What can I do? What do I not know as a company about what the opportunity is for me as a company, as an organization, as small company, large company, like all of it. Let's just go.
Sure. So I will say it again, TechCred.Ohio.Gov is a great resource. That's the website. The number one thing we'll get is companies will ask what's fundable. We'll start there. What credentials fundable? It is technology focused training. So some of your safety courses, like OSHA, for instance, not going to be funded through TechCred, but ArcFlash would be. You're going to get some continuous improvement courses that, or some quality courses that would be fundable, but there's also some that aren't. So we work very closely with our customers, our clients, to ensure that what they're asking of us, we can go on that website. The About tab, I will tell you, it's invaluable. They have a bar right there. You can type in a title at the TechCred website, and it will tell you instantly if that course that you're seeking is a fundable program through TechCred. So you can check out the website, and it'll give you a lot of information. So when I talk to companies or even municipalities, counties, city workers, city maintenance, city employees, county employees, this funding is available. Nonprofits, it's available to them.
Nonprofits as well?
Yes, nonprofits as well.
Okay,
can take advantage of that. So if you have employees as a nonprofit, you can upskill them through TechCred. Northwest State utilizes TechCred to upskill our instructors.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, we utilize the funding as well. So it's out there. So the first thing I do is I go through the mechanics of what TechCred is. So it's $30,000.
I want to stop you right there, because I have a question and I'll forget. Full-time employees, part-time employees, what's
W-2 employees.
W-2 employees, okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. So $30,000 per funding round.
Okay.
And there's
funding,
6 of them.
Okay.
6 of them a year. So $180,000 a year is what an organization is eligible for.
Total for the entire organization.
Correct.
Could invest $180,000 into training, upskilling their people.
And if you have multiple facilities in the state of Ohio, as long as their federal tax ID is different, that facility would also be eligible for that amount of funding.
So like a subsidiary or something? I mean, I don't know exactly
so
how
like,
that works.
Whirlpool, I'll just throw them out there. Okay. Whirlpool has a site in Marion, Greenville, Clyde, Findlay, Ottawa. They have multiple facilities in Ohio. If those tax ID numbers are all separate or different, each of their facilities would be eligible for $180,000. Okay,
wow.
So
let's go.
There's a ton of opportunity for companies to take advantage of this. So $2,000 per person per credential. That's how the 30 would be broken down.
Is that, and sorry, I'm going to continue to interrupt you. So I apologize. Fine. Is that like for that so funding period is 2 months, correct? Does that have to be taken within 2 months? Is there a time frame on this? How does that work?
Nope. So we tell companies you're going to go in, let's say they apply in March.
Okay.
The March funding round comes around. It's open from the first business day until the final business day in the month of March. It closes at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Just remember
government
that.
hours. Government hours.
Do not wait till 5 p.m. I've had it happen with customers before, and it's hey, we'll wait till the next funding round.
Right.
So it closes at 3 p.m. If you apply in March, I generally tell companies you're looking at a 6 to 8 week lead time of waiting to hear if your application is approved, because all the applications are graded by the state of Ohio. So the more applications there are, the longer the grading period is going to take. Once you receive notification of funding, you're going to get an email. You have 12 months to utilize the funding once your application has been approved.
Okay,
you have 12 months. So it's not like you get the money.
Nice.
Yes, you have to use it right now. So that's why I encourage companies. I talk to them. They say, hey, I don't need that right now. But don't think now. Think 10 months down the road.
Yeah. And what if it doesn't get used? Just go back.
No harm, no foul. Nope.
Okay.
So they would reach out to you and say, hey, your application your funding is going to expire soon. Do you intend to utilize this? If you
Can
say
they renew or?
No.
Okay, no renewal. Okay.
It would just be. It just goes back to. Yeah, it just goes back into the pot of money. What's nice is that some organizations, especially smaller companies, you're not competing against giant organizations. So the funding is broken into 3 different groups.
Okay.
There's a small companies, medium-sized, large companies.
So buckets.
Correct.
Okay.
Different buckets of funding. That way it's equal across the board for all organizations, whether you're a small nonprofit or you're a Stellantis, for instance.
Yeah.
So that's what's nice, is that it's equal across the board for organizations when they go in and apply.
Speaking of like Stellantis, and I do believe that they resolved what the potential layoffs were going to be, if I remember right. But let's say a company was going to go, and I'm asking this because I worked for companies that did this or trained people, worked for companies that knew they were going to have to lay off a portion of their people. Could they use TechCred to upskill those people before they left to help them with the transition?
I believe they could. I believe they could. I mean, as long as you're a W-2 employee of an organization, you would be eligible to apply. And what's nice with TechCred too is you don't have to designate who is taking the training in the beginning.
Oh, really?
So no, you don't have to put any identifying markers. When you do TechCred, you're essentially applying for seats at the table.
Okay, cool.
I want an industrial electricity class. I know I want 6 people. I can have 6 people in it. I know I'm going to get 6 people in it. I only have 4 right now. I'm going to be hiring two more people in 6 months. Or
because it takes so long to do, you could, or not so long, but because there is a period of the state figuring out who they're going to give the money to, you don't necessarily need to invest the time or energy into picking those people until you know you got the money to make it happen.
Or what happens if they're sick on training day?
Okay.
You have the opportunity now. You're not stuck with putting that person specifically. Now you can grab someone else to fill in that spot. So it allows for great flexibility when utilizing those funds.
It sounds super flexible, right?
I mean, from our standpoint, it's been very, very flexible. And that's a great benefit to organizations.
I don't know if you're allowed to answer this. Are we using all the money?
I honestly, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you that. I truthfully couldn't. I know that we're one of the top providers in the state of Ohio. We've helped organizations take in a significant amount of funding. We've helped organizations that have not even utilized us as a training provider. As a community college, we have a responsibility to help our region, and that's what our focus is. Now, I will say we did help them out, and they didn't use us, but they eventually did come back, and we did training for them. So, I believe you do good things, it'll come back to you, and that's always been our focus. Yes, we want to do your training for you. That's our job. That's my job, is to go out and to provide a service to Northwest Ohio, North Central Ohio, or whoever needs training in the state of Ohio, Michigan, or Indiana. We're in 18 counties right now, and in Michigan, Indiana. We've had some other out-of-state requests as well. I don't have a service area per se. With non-credit, I can go anywhere.
There's 2 big things that I'm connected to here, and I don't want to switch up the conversation yet if we're not done with TechCred, but this is somewhat TechCred related, I think. We have two fairly decent things going on here, potentially in Toledo, Northwest Ohio, around AI and cybersecurity. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming some portion of those AI might not be on the TechCred list. Okay, so like what portion of AI though? Like just teach me about AI, like beginning AI. Like
I think it's so new. And like I said, I run in the manufacturing world primarily. Mm-hmm. We don't get into the tech side as much on the the computer, the AI aspects of it. It's so new that it's the fundamental courses for AI about how to utilize it, the what it is, the why, the how. Very base level, to my knowledge, is on there. But there are cybersecurity courses on there. There's 2,400 credentials.
Yeah.
And just to give you an idea, in 2019, there were only 400.
Yeah.
And those 2,000 new ones that have come along over the past 5.5 years, those have been added by manufacturers. So us as education providers, we don't put the credentials on there.
Okay.
The employers do. This is an employer-driven.
Needs-driven.
Correct.
Yeah,
and if you can prove that it's a need for you and it's a need for others, similar to your organization, it's on there.
Yeah. And when it comes to delivering classes, I know one of the things I run into in academia is class size. I have to have at least this many people. Is that also something we have to consider here?
So in my side, on the non-credit side, I always tell organizations, it's obviously if we're going on site, I have to have people on the road traveling. I generally recommend a minimum on the industrial side, industrial training. I'm looking for a minimum of 4 people.
Okay. That's
No, and we're extremely flexible. And that's, I do my best to keep it so that companies are getting fully reimbursed with TechCred. Mm-hmm. I want the training, I want your training to be at no cost to you. That's my objective with this.
So we should talk about that, the reimbursement side.
Sure.
So let's say I offer a class and it's $2,000 a head and company A gets approved. Mm-hmm. My company delivers the training. The company that wants the training is paying me per my terms, net 30 or whatever it is. And I get my $8,000 from training their 4 people. How long does it take for them to get their money back?
30 to 45 days. There's a reimbursement rate. So I have a very
That's not bad at all.
A very simple standard operating procedure. Yeah. It's 6 steps. We start here. We do a needs assessment or a sales call, if you will, in my word. Needs assessment. So we come in and we listen. We're active listeners. That's our job, is to listen to you, the customer. What do you want? Mm-hmm. I have subject matter experts. If I have if I know ahead of time what you're really wanting, I'll bring them with me because they're going to be able to answer questions and create courses on the spot.
Because sometimes customers don't even know what they're asking for, especially in that space.
Or what's available.
Yeah,
they don't know what's available. So we do a needs assessment. Okay, great. I tell them, tell me what you want, where you want it, when you want it, how many people, and cadence of delivery. One thing is for some of the smaller organizations, I can put 4 people in the class, but I can't have 4 people off the line or off the floor for 3 straight days. Well, that's okay. Let's do 1 day a week for 3 weeks. So we're very flexible. Like I said, we do first, second, or third. We do Saturdays or Sundays. I will say that some of those other first shifts are going to be more expensive. They're going to cost more because I'm paying my instructors more to teach those.
Right.
But we're transparent with our customers. So you go in, you tell me all those aspects of what you want. We help you apply. So I would send an email to you, the customer, connect you with our office. They schedule a virtual meeting with you. They help you apply. We run the training. You get you're going to need a couple things in order to get reimbursed. You're going to need proof of payment. You're going to need your credentials or your certificate from us. Yep. And then you're going to go in and you're going to, and your employee verification form. Key thing to remember for employers, we run into it on the West End, North End. They have to be Ohio residents. This is for Ohio residents only.
Oh, so when you say you're doing like training in Indiana and Michigan, it's for companies who are using people from Ohio.
Those would be non-TechCred. So out of state. So this is only for Ohio employers, only Ohio residents. And that's key to remember up here in Northwest Ohio and the West End as well.
So do we have to like justify that this training is something that they would use on the job, or is this something like a company could just use to like foster an idea of continuous improvement and continuous learning within their organization?
No, you don't have to. If a company wants, we'll go back to Excel. Hey, we had an organization we're working with right now. They've run 160 people through 3 different levels of Excel training, and that's they're upskilling their employees, or like you said, it can be utilized as a reward.
Right.
It's an investment in your workforce.
Yeah. That's phenomenal.
So, and back to the reimbursement, see proof of payment, your certificate, and your employee verification form, which verifies that they are a resident of the state of Ohio. You're going to go in, you're going to apply for reimbursement. 30 to 45 days generally is what we tell organizations. When you receive notification that you've been awarded funding, generally you're in an active funding round as well.
Okay.
So now are you receiving notification your previous funding request has been approved? You also should be applying for
the
funding.
next round.
Yes, for the next round.
Okay.
So we've had some organizations never miss a round since 2019. We're talking in excess of $900,000.
Wow.
They've never missed a round.
I mean, it's free money, right? I mean, it's free money.
And one thing, we work very closely with our customers and clients to ensure that they get that reimbursement, because that's key.
So with as much remote work as there is, and I think I know the answer to this, right? So let's say I've got somebody that works for, I'll pick, Amazon, Microsoft, right?
Okay.
Microsoft has somebody that's working remotely here. Would that person be able to get TechCred in order to upskill if they was approved, through the company?
So if it has to be an Ohio company.
Has to be Ohio.
Has to be an Ohio company.
Okay.
Yep. Has to be.
Well, Bill
Ohio
Gates move over here.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's Bill Gates make decisions anymore. I don't know.
But we have done for remote workforce.
Okay.
So we've run online classes before, like Excel, for instance. There's a manufacturer that has a Salesforce team that are remote, and we run Excel training for them.
Okay.
So we can do that. I mean, that's part of the scheduling aspect of it, being flexible.
So I want to talk about AI. I want to talk about software development. I want to talk about data analytics, data engineering, because those are jobs, the future of work, right? I think are going to foundationally cloud computing in there as well, right? What are our companies doing right now, kind of looking towards the future?
So we've had some organizations, Power BI. That's been one that's been requested here recently more. SharePoint has been, that's been one that had a lot of requests here recently on that aspect of it.
And for those that don't know, Power BI, Power Business Intelligence, is a Microsoft product. It's will integrate with your Excel, integrate with other data stores that you have, databases, and helps to provide data visualizations, which helps you make better decisions with your data. SharePoint being the Microsoft is a wonderful animal, right? It can help you have an internal internet for sharing information.
Yep.
I think is the best way to say that.
Yeah, information files. Yeah, and you know how it computes and works with teams.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty powerful tool.
It's a pretty powerful tool, but it's also pretty daunting. A lot of the Microsoft stuff, you get under the hood and there's like, should I touch this? Should I do that? So having a training on how to effectively set up a SharePoint site for delivering information to your internal teams, super valuable for sure.
And a lot of it is the base level knowledge.
Yeah.
It is the just simple mechanics of, if I do this, what will happen?
Yeah.
That's a large portion right now, because it is something that manufacturers are utilizing more and more. So we do get some of those requests that just base level knowledge. Hey, just how does this work? Why does it work? What do I do if this happens?
Well, and I think too, right? Like, this is what my business does. How could these tools help me
be more efficient with my time, my resources, the manpower? That's what we focus on, to get the continuous improvement aspect, the eliminating variances, being more efficient with time and energy.
Well, and people don't spend money to be less efficient, right? I mean,
That's correct.
It's usually going to be some a
value add is what we're looking for.
For sure. I mean, I still want to, try to understand how we, as a region who are so heavily manufacturing based, agriculture based, I mean, that's who we are. And we have a lot of immediate needs. My struggle and kind of ongoing question is, how do we, and it sounds like TechCred may be able to help this if we can get companies kind of looking ahead, like how do we start building those people that the state admits we're going to need for the future, so Northwest Ohio can do more than just what it's doing now?
I think that I've always said that education can't push companies or push manufacturers, if you will. I think the push has to come from the private sector, in my opinion. I think, if a company wants something, teaming up with the right people to get the job done is key. And whether that's non-credit, that's for credit, you have to have a push, I think, from private industry to say, this is what we need and this is how we need it. And then from there, as an education provider, it's our responsibility to, like I said, react, adapt, but do it at their pace. Mm-hmm. We can't just sit around and wait. It has to be an immediate reaction, collaboration of creating the content that is not only relevant to that specific manufacturer or that specific business, but that it will be relevant to all in the area.
One of the things that I've heard is we put out some technically sound people, but they may not be as proficient within the professional skills of just communicating and how to
Sure.
get stuff done. Is TechCred cover any of those type of professional skills developments or
leadership and leadership and development? They will not cover that. TechCred wouldn't pay for that. But back to that point, with us being non-credit, we're 90-10 split. We're 90% hands-on, 10% lecture.
Okay.
We specialize in industrial maintenance
you guys
professionals.
Are actually programming the things and touching the
and
stuff.
Taking operators and upskilling them into that. So to your point about, we're pushing people into the market. Well, I still think it comes back to that on-the-job learning.
Yeah.
You have to have some life experience to go along with that education. If you have all the education, you've never applied it, you got to get into the real world and put your hands or be involved in something that is specific to that.
Yeah, for sure. The we could talk forever about this stuff. Oh man, I don't know where I want to go now. Where do you want to go now?
No, I think
we've covered everything or not?
I do.
Because I want to go down rabbit holes, and I don't want to go down rabbit holes. You know what I'm saying?
TechCred's a great resource. If anybody has questions, like I said, if you have a provider already and you're not using TechCred, we'll certainly help you apply. Of course, we'd love to do your training. That's our job. That's what we do. We'll
right.
go anywhere. We'll go anywhere and do training. That's the main thing I will say. And we build it to spec. We use your schematics, pieces, parts, prints. We want to make this a non-canned option. And TechCred can help you pay for that. We can help build that for you. TechCred, whether it's, like you said, IT-specific courses, whether it's a simple course is computer essentials in the workplace.
Okay.
It's very base level of, I have a Microsoft Outlook email. What does all this stuff do? If someone's never utilized that or heavily utilized it, how can I be more efficient within this platform?
And as somebody who's worked in manufacturing and sales and delivery, like you've got people on the shop floor who are now being asked to be technologists.
Yes.
So yes, definitely.
It can be base level and it could be a way high advanced IT cybersecurity credential that could be funded as well. Yeah. So 2,400 credentials, there's a lot out there. Yeah. I highly encourage companies to go check out the website, start there, go to the About tab, and start reading on it. And then there's a credentials list. There's a button on the left-hand side of your screen. It'll say credential list. Click that, scroll down, and if you can type in any class, and it's going to tell you if it's funded or not.
I know what I'm doing this afternoon.
It's a great resource.
Awesome.
I'm on that page all the time. But like I said, we're more than happy to help you apply. We're more than happy to talk to you about any type of training you want. And I've always been transparent. If we can't do it, I'm going to tell you up front.
And you probably know somebody who can.
And I will do my best to help guide you to who can do that. But we're going to do as much as we can, and we're going to be great at what we're good at. And we're going to stay in our lane. And that's our focus.
So if you're a company, small, medium, large, in Ohio.
Yes.
And would like to upskill your people in tech is a weird word, right? TechCred.
Yes.
It can almost be anything, but there's 2,400 potential credentials. You could upskill people. Excel being the number one seller. Sounds like there's a lot of variety within new technology, AI, cybersecurity, a lot of stuff with PLC programming, advanced manufacturing, some of the immediate needs. So a good mix of immediate needs.
Welding's on there. There's print reading. It's across the board. It's all there. And if it's not,
if it's not, you can make a business case for getting it added, right? Without too much
business
trouble.
can. It's an employer-driven program. Yes.
You go in, you identify some people, you contact Matt and his team over at Custom Training Solutions. They can help you fill out the application. You wait the 2 months it takes, 6 to 8 weeks to get the information back on whether or not you're approved. It's approved. You put your people in the classes working with Matt and his team to figure out a schedule that works with what your company needs to do to continue to make this stuff happen. You put the people through the training, they get their certificates and or their certifications, and then 30 to 45 days later, you get reimbursed for.
Then you do it again.
Having better people.
Exactly.
Like you're helping. You're not only helping your company, you're helping Northwest Ohio, but Northwest Ohio specifically, having a more developed, better workforce, which will help us all bring more business to the region, which is what's going to benefit us and our kids for generations to come.
Correct. I mean, you hit all the nails on the head right there.
That was you. I just regurgitated what you said. That's all.
Well, that's good. That means I actually hit all the nails as well.
Because that's what I want to be able to do, right? I'm out and about. I want to be able to tell the story of what TechCred is. And Matt, I can't thank you enough. Like, I know what it is now. Before this, it was all kind of still cloudy to me, even though people had told me you did a phenomenal job presenting. They should make you the director.
I have a simple presentation as well that I can share with you, Mike, that I when I go present to companies, what I utilize that talks about it from a state perspective and also our perspective as well. You know
what might be kind of cool here at the Toledo Tech Loft is if we could get a whole bunch of businesses to come and hang out and you could present to them.
I've done this.
Direct.
I've done it.
You've done that? Okay,
sweet. 15, 20 times. With the county level for different counties, economic development organizations.
Here's the most important question. Can you buy lunch for us all as part of this?
I don't know. That's above my pay grade. I don't know. I'm going to have to check on that one.
That's Jim. That's Jim.
Yeah. Yep. But no, I'd be happy to do that. Happy to come in and talk to anybody.
Dude. Yeah. Awesome. All right, man. I appreciate, Matt, your time. This is phenomenal. Matt Kibler with the Custom Training Solution over at Northwest State, the Director of Business Development. Great guy. Definitely worth talking to if you are looking to upskill your folks in your industry.
I appreciate you having me on here. It's great. I had a good time and appreciate any chance to help organizations here in Northwest Ohio or in the state of Ohio for that.
Right on. Let's just make it happen.
Sounds great.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.